You've seen me without garments. Human. Now, you must marry me or they will execute us both. Commander Brennan Blackwood had never imagined that his diplomatic mission to Celestia Prime would involve such grueling trekking across alien landscapes. His obsidian-colored armored suit was growing increasingly unbearable under the planet's twin suns, and the plasma rifle slung across his back felt heavier with each step. However, as Earth's newly appointed ambassador to the Celestians, he understood the importance of immersing himself in their customs. The crystalline cliffs surrounding him shimmered with an otherworldly radiance, with steam rising from numerous thermal springs scattered throughout the rugged terrain. His Celestian guide had vaguely mentioned that these springs held deep spiritual significance for their people, but had frustratingly withheld details regarding their precise tradition. Cultural awareness is essential, Brennan muttered under his breath, recalling the extensive briefing he received before departing from Earth. The Celestians were well known for their unwavering commitment to ancient traditions and intricate social laws. One misstep could ignite an interplanetary conflict. He paused to check his navigation device, wiping the sweat from his thick, dark beard. The diplomatic compound should be just beyond the next ridge. As he rounded a bend in the narrow path, the sound of splashing water caught his attention. Steam rose thickly from a secluded pool ahead, partially obscuring his vision. Through the mist, he caught a glimpse of pale, porcelain skin and long, flowing dark hair. His mind took a moment to process what he was seeing. A Celestian woman, completely unclothed, was bathing in what he now realized must be one of their sacred springs. Their eyes met across the steam. Her large, dark irises widened in shock and discomfort. In one fluid motion, she snatched a white cloth and wrapped around herself, but the damage was already done. "By ancient decree, you have seen me without coverings," she proclaimed, her voice a blend of authority and alarm. Brennan's jaw slackened. "I what? Look!" This was clearly a mistake. "I'm sure we can." "There are no mistakes in matters of honor," she interrupted sharply. "Our laws are absolute. You must either become my mate or we both face execution at sunset." "That's completely irrational," Brennan objected, keeping his gaze firmly fixed on her face. "I am a diplomatic representative of Earth. You can't just—" A distant horn sounded, echoing off the gleaming cliffs. The Celestian woman's expression turned urgent. "That's the temple guard," she explained quickly. "Someone must have seen you enter this sacred site. We have very little time to decide." Brennan's mind whirled. This had to be a cultural misunderstanding, but the genuine fear in her dark eyes made him hesitate. He opened his mouth to argue, but the approaching sound of footsteps and voices made them both freeze. "Hide!" she whispered, gesturing toward a concealed cave entrance behind the spring. "Quickly. I'll try to mislead them, but understand, this situation cannot be undone. Choose wisely, human male. Our lives depend on it." As the twin suns cast their evening glow across Celestia Prime's crystalline spires, Brennan found himself facing an unexpected challenge, mastering the intricate steps of the traditional Celestian bonding dance. His military training had taught him discipline and precision, yet nothing could prepare him for fluidity and grace required of this ritual. Astria, dressed in flowing ceremonial robes infused with luminescent fibers, moved effortlessly, her every motion in perfect sync with the pulsing energy of the palace. Brennan, on the other hand, struggled to match her rhythm, his rigid movements betraying his unfamiliarity. "You're thinking too much," Astria teased, her dark eyes twinkling as she guided his hands to her waist. "Let the energy guide you." Brennan took a breath, centering himself. He closed his eyes and focused on the vibrations beneath his feet, the living crystal responding to their presence. Slowly, his body attuned to hers, their movements beginning to weave together in seamless harmony. The watching dignitaries exchanged approving glances. This was more than just a dance. It was a symbol of unity, of two souls merging into one. As they completed the final step, a radiant pulse emanated from the floor, shimmering through the palace walls in cascading waves of color. It was a phenomenon unseen in generations, proof, the oracle would later say, of a bond blessed by the sacred springs themselves. Yet, even as the celebrations unfolded, shadows moved in secret corners of the palace. Deep within the ancient archives, Lord Callan paced furiously, His previous attempt to discredit the Union had failed, and now, with Astria carrying a child, an unprecedented hybrid, his influence was rapidly waning. But he was not without allies. Minor nobles, discontent with the council's decision, whispered a defiance of reclaiming the purity of their bloodline before it was lost forever. "We must act now," Callan growled, slamming his fist against an ornate table. "Once that child is born, their power will be absolute." A hooded figure stepped forward, placing an ancient text upon the table. "There is one final option, my lord, a ritual older than the springs themselves. It does not require consent, only sacrifice." Callan's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Then we shall remind the Oracle that not all traditions are meant to be broken." The night before the wedding, Brennan and Astria stood on the balcony of their private chambers, overlooking the glowing cityscape. He wrapped an arm around her, feeling the steady warmth of her body against his. "I never expected any of this," he admitted, pressing a kiss to her temple. "Not just a marriage, but the child, the connection we share. It's as if the universe had a plan all along." Astria smiled, resting a hand over her abdomen. "Perhaps it did. Or perhaps we simply listened when others refused." Before Brennan could respond, a sudden shift in the air sent a shiver down his spine. Astria tensed, sensing it too. A dark ripple passed through the palace's crystalline walls, an omen of something unnatural. Then the alarm sounded. The next moments were a blur. Palace guards clashed with robed figures wielding energy blades. Intruders moved with precision, their goal unmistakable. They were coming for Astria, for the child. Brennan's instincts kicked in, years of combat training propelling him forward. He pulled Astria behind him, drawing the ceremonial dagger gifted to him earlier that evening. It was not his usual weapon, but it would do. A figure lunged at them, and Brennan met the attack with lethal efficiency. The assassin crumpled, but more followed. Astria's eyes blazed with fury as she raised her hands. The crystals embedded in the palace resonated with her energy, sending out a shockwave that sent the remaining intruders sprawling. As the dust settled, Lord Callan's voice echoed through the chamber. "You defy our very existence, Astria. You taint our lineage with impurity." He stepped forward, his face twisted with contempt. "But it is not too late. Renounce this union, and I will spare you." Astria's grip tightened around Brennan's hand. "You speak of purity as if it were a strength," she said coldly. "But strength is in unity, in evolution." Callan's expression darkened. He reached into his robes, pulling out a small vial of inky liquid. "Then you leave me no choice." Before he could act, a brilliant light erupted from behind him. The Oracle, flanked by high-ranking council members, stepped into the chamber. "You have defied the sacred springs, Lord Callan," she intoned. "And for that you will answer." The guard seized him, the vial clattering to the floor, its contents hissing as they met the ground. Callan struggled, but it was over. "The springs have chosen," the Oracle said, turning to Brennan and Astria. "And now there is no more doubt." The wedding that followed was unlike any in Celestian history. Delegates from Earth and Celestia stood together, witnessing the first true merging of their people. As Brennan and Astria exchanged vows, the sacred springs shimmered in the distance, their waters glowing with ethereal light. When the ceremony ended, the Oracle approached them, placing her hands on Astria's abdomen once more. "This child," she murmured, "will not just be the first of its kind. It will be the future of both our worlds." Brennan met Astria's gaze, their fingers entwining. "Then we better make sure that future is one worth fighting for." And as the celebrations began, the stars above bore witness to the dawn of a new era, one born of love, unity, and destiny. The day of the twin suns' alignment arrived with unforeseen complications. Astria's pregnancy, progressing faster than either human or Celestian norms, had reached a critical phase. The medical chambers buzzed with activity as Dr. Alera monitored the rapidly changing readings. "The child's development is extraordinary," she announced, studying the holographic displays. "The combination of human adaptability and Celestian energy manipulation is creating something unprecedented." Brennan paced anxiously, his wedding attire half donned. "Is she in danger?" "We're both fine," Estrie assured him from the medical bed, though her pale skin glowed with an unusual intensity. She reached for his hand. The baby is just eager to witness our union. The crystal walls pulsed with erratic patterns, reflecting the unique energy signatures emanating from their unborn child. Dr. Alera's instruments recorded everything, documenting the first human-celestian hybrid development for future generations. Meanwhile, in the temple preparation chambers, Oracle Neria received urgent news. The remaining conspirators, led by Lady Mira's younger brother, had stolen ancient artifacts from the Forbidden Archives, artifacts rumored to have the power to sever bonds blessed by the springs. They don't understand what they're dealing with, Neria warned High Counselor Lysander. Those artifacts were sealed away because they're too dangerous to control. The wedding ceremony was scheduled for high noon when the twin suns would align perfectly above the sacred springs where Brennan and Estria first met. But as the hour approached, Estria's condition worsened. The baby's energy is synchronized with the sun's alignment, Dr. Alera explained, her voice mixing concern with fascination. It's as if our child knows exactly when to make an entrance. Estria managed a strained smile through her discomfort. She squeezed Brennan's hand. We need to proceed with the ceremony now. But the traditional timing, an aide protested. To hell with tradition, Brennan declared, his diplomatic polish giving way to raw emotion. We're already breaking new ground. Let's do this our way. The announcement that the ceremony would begin early sent the conspirators scrambling to adjust their plans. Their haste made them careless, allowing Neria's agents to track their movements through the palace's crystal network. As Brennan and Estrie exchanged their vows in the temple chamber, her labor intensified. The traditional words merged with gasps of pain and determination, creating a ceremony unlike any in Celestian history. I saw you in truth, Brennan recited, supporting his bride as another contraction hit, and chose to bind my soul to yours. I offered you life, Estrie responded, her voice strong despite her pain, and found my destiny in your eyes. The moment they sealed their vows with a kiss, the conspirators struck. Ancient artifacts hummed with dark energy as they attempted to sever the couple's bond. But they hadn't counted on one crucial factor, the strength of human determination combined with Celestian passion. The artifact's energy backfired, unable to break a connection that transcended their ancient magic. In the chaos that followed, Estria's water broke, and the true miracle began. Their son was born just as the twin suns reached perfect alignment. His first cry harmonized with the crystal song, his skin holding the pale luminescence of his mother's people, while his eyes sparked with his father's intensity. They named him Lien, honoring both his grandfather Lysander and the lyrical prophecies that had foretold his coming. He's perfect, Brennan whispered, holding his son while sitting beside his exhausted but radiant wife. The conspirators had been apprehended, their artifacts safely sealed away. But none of that seemed to matter in this moment. Of course he is, Estria murmured, touching their baby's cheek. He's what the spring saw that day. The future they knew we could create together. Dr. Alera's readings confirmed what they could all sense. Lien possessed unique abilities. His hybrid nature allowed him to channel both human adaptability and Celestian energy manipulation in ways never before seen. He'll need both of you, Oracle Neria declared, blessing the child. Human strength and Celestian wisdom, united in perfect balance. That night, as their son slept peacefully in his crystal cradle, Brennan and Estria found themselves drawn to each other with renewed passion. Their lovemaking was gentle but intense, celebrating not just their official union, but the miracle they had created together. I never thought, Brennan murmured against his wife's skin, that accidentally seeing you in those springs would lead to all this. The springs don't create accidents, she replied, pulling him closer. They reveal destinies.